Question 1. Solve the equation 1 plus log 2x minus 9 is equals to log 3x plus 5 minus log 2. One method of solving this question is expressing all the values in form of logarithm. You can see all these values are expressed in terms of logarithm apart from 1. When you find the base is not indicated, automatically just know that all these are to the base of 10. The logarithm is given to the base of 10. Something that you're going to use in this question is this. Recall these, that given log of A plus log of B, if you're expressing this on as a singular log, this will be log of A times B. And also you're going to use this log of A minus log of B is equals to log of A divided by B. That is what you're going to use in this question. So I'll start by writing 1 in terms of logarithm to the base of 10. This is how you do it. So this is how you do it. So log of x, because we don't know that value that you're going to put there, but the base is 10, should give me 1. So therefore x will be 10 raised to power 1. So if x is equals to 10 raised to power 1, therefore 1 in terms expressed in terms of logarithm to the base of 10 will be written as, so 1 is equals to log of 10 to the base of 10. But in this case, because the base is not indicated, you can still write it as log of 10. So now in place of 1, you're going to substitute that with log 10 plus log 2x minus 9 is equals to log 3x plus 5 minus log 2. Look at the left hand side. The left hand side, we're going to use this property. We're going to use this, the left hand side. So for this one, use that property. So express that in form of singular log, both of them. And this will be log of 10 multiplied by 2x minus 9. Then for this part, we are going to use this property here. Express that one as a singular log. You get log 3x plus 5 divided by 2. Now because we have log on the left hand side and the right hand side, you can drop the logs. And when you drop the logs, you'll have 10 to brackets 10 2x minus 9 is equals to 3x plus 5 divided by 2. So this will give 20x when you open the bracket minus 90 is equals to 3x plus 5 divided by 2. You can multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of this denominator here. When you do that, this one will give you 40x minus 180 is equals to, this one will be 3x. So this one will give 3x plus 5. So like terms together, 40x minus 3x is equals to 5 plus 180. So this will give 37x is equals to 185. X will be given by 185 divided by 37, and here x will be 5. So that is the value of x. Question 2. The masses of two students in a class were measured as 30.5 kg and 36.8 kg. determine the least possible difference in the masses of the two students. The least possible differences. Now the first thing you're going to do, the weights are given as 30.5 and 36.8. So we need to get the limits in each. So for 30.5, this one will have the maximum, and the minimum. So how do you get the maximum? The limits under which 30.5 lies. The smallest unit of measurement in 30.5 is 0.1. 0.1. So we want to get the absolute error in these. We just take the smallest unit of measurement, we divide by 2, we get this one as 0.05. So if you want to get the limits under which 30.5 lies, we shall take 30.5 plus or minus 0.05. 30.5 plus or minus 0.05. So if you want to get, for example, maximum of 30.5, we simply add 0.05 and this will give 30.55. If we want to get the minimum of 30.5, we subtract 0.05. This one will give 30.45. That is for 30. What about for 36.8? So for 36.8, still the absolute error will still be 0.05 because the smallest unit of measurement is 0.1. So 0.1 divided by 2 again, this will give 0.05. So to get the limits under which this one lies, we should simply take 36.8, then we plus or minus 0.05. So to get the maximum of 36.8 will be, we add 0.05, this will be 36.85. Then the minimum will be, you subtract 0.05, this will be 36.75. Now having that, now to get the least possible difference, in other terms, the smallest possible difference using the 2, this one will be given by the minimum, because you start with the largest value, which is the 6.8. So it will be the minimum of 36.8 subtract the maximum of 30.5. This is what is going to give the least or the smallest possible difference in the masses of the two. So what is the minimum of 36.8? The minimum is here 36.75. Maximum of 30.5 will be 30.55. When you subtract these, you'll get 6.2. And that is the least possible difference in the masses of the two. Question 3. Make x the subject of the formula a is equals to bx divided by the square root of x squared minus 9. Now the first thing you're going to do, you write it again here. A is equals to bx divided by the square root of x squared minus 9. So the first thing you're going to do is to get rid of the square root sign. And to get rid of that, we are going to square. To get rid of the square root sign, we square. So we are going to square both sides like that. This one is to eliminate the square root sign here in the denominator. So this will be a squared is equals to, when you square bx, you get b squared x squared. And then the denominator, the square root will disappear, remain with x squared minus 9. So from there, you can just express a squared as a squared over 1, and then you cross multiply. Let's cross multiply, and this one will be a squared multiplied by x squared minus 9, then is equals to 1 multiplied by b squared x squared. In the brackets, you get a squared x squared minus 9 a squared is equals to b squared x squared. Since you're making x the subject, you bring the x's to the same side. So this one and this one, you bring them together. So I will have it like this: a squared x squared, bring b squared x squared to the left hand side, you get sub minus b squared x squared is equals to 9a squared. The left hand side factor out, x is common, x squared is common, so you remain with a squared minus b squared is equals to 9a squared. To remain with x squared, both side, divide both sides by a squared minus b squared. So divide this side by a squared minus b squared like that, and this side a squared minus b squared. So this one will give you x squared will be 9a squared divided by a squared minus b squared. Still, we have not obtained the answer. And to get x, you have x squared, now you need x, you get the square root of both sides. So therefore x will be given by, when you get the square root of the numerator, square root of 9a squared will be 3a. Then the square root of the denominator, cannot get the exact square root there, so you leave it like that. Don't forget, when you're getting the square root, you either get either positive or negative. Positive or negative, let me indicate this one properly. So you get either positive or negative. So therefore, x is equals to 3a divided by a squared minus b squared. You get the square root of that. And this one should be positive or negative. Question 4. In this question, use a ruler and a pair of compasses. The following figure shows a circle, center O, a tangent to the circle at P is drawn. Construct another tangent to the circle to intersect the drawn tangent at an angle of 60 degrees. Now the first thing you can do is just to draw a sketch of what is expected. So we'll just draw a sketch. You're required to draw another tangent. Just a sketch, another tangent like that. And that tangent will intersect the other tangent at 60 degrees. One property that you're supposed to understand is that tangents to a circle from a common external point are equal. So these tangents, let me call this point M. Tangent MP is equals to tangent, let me call this point N, MN. So these two are equal. Another thing, if you draw this, that's a radius, that is the radius, and that is the radius. If you draw another line from the vertex, the center, that line will bisect this angle into two. This is our property. That line to the center will bisect this angle 60 degrees, and you will have 30, 30. Another important property that is going to help you is the tangent radius property. Remember, the tangent is perpendicular to the radius. So this angle here is 90 degrees. And this one is also 90 degrees. This point where the tangent and the radius are meeting should be a right angle. Having known that, you'll be able to have an idea of how you're going to construct that tangent. Since this is 90 degrees, consider triangle PMO. The sum of angles should be 180. So 90 plus 30, that will be 120. So this angle that is here, it should be 60 degrees. Also, this one should be 60 degrees. That means if I'm able to construct this angle here at the center, 60 degrees, I'll automatically be able now to draw the tangent MN. So I'll need to construct 60 degrees here. So let me clear everything now and draw everything accurately. So we'll begin by joining point P like that, point P to center O like that. Then at O, need to construct 60 degrees. So stand with your pair of compass at O. Then this is how we construct 60 degrees. That point. So open any radius. So you'll mark an arc like that. Then with the same radius without changing anything. Stand at this point and at that arc. So that is how we construct 60 degrees. Then using a ruler, straight line, join point O. Join point O like that. The point of intersection of the two arcs like that. So that angle will be 60 degrees. So this angle here, this angle is 60 degrees, and this one is 90, and this angle here will be 30 degrees. Now, since we said, so this is the meeting point, we can call this a point M, that is the meeting point. So from there, we simply need to take that distance, that length of that tangent. So let me take the length of tangent MP. Take that length, and then using that length, I will simply stand at M with that length, and then mark an arc, because we said tangents to a circle from a common external point are equal. So just mark that point, and then you just need to draw a straight line from this point here, from M to this point we've made an arc there. So from there, you just draw a tangent like that. And that is how you go about that. If you join this point O, that point of contact, you'll have this one as 90 degrees, and you'll have this one as 30 degrees. So you can see we have achieved the objective. We have constructed another tangent. The tangent is MN. to intersect the drone tangent at M there at an angle of 60 degrees. The angle there is 30, that is 60 degrees. So that is how you're supposed to work out that. Question 5. A plane took 3 hours to fly from point P, 66.42 degrees north, 30 degrees east, to point Q, 66.42 degrees north, 52.5 degrees east. Determine the speed of the plane in knots correct to 1 decimal place. When you look at these two places, they are located on the same latitude. So you just sketch this, the latitude, which is 66.42, but on different longitudes. The longitudes are different, but both of them are to the east. So one is 52.5 degrees east and another one is 30 degrees east. So this is how you have point P, this is how you have point Q. So you notice that these places are located along the small circle or the circle of latitude. So the question is, how do you determine the speed in knots? To get the speed in knots, you must have the distance in nautical mile between P and Q, and also you need to have time in hours. You know how we get the speed? Speed is given by distance over time. So we need to get the distance in nautical miles between P and Q. To get distance along the small circle or the circle of latitude in nautical miles, this is how we do it. So distance is given by, is the formula, 60 theta cosine of alpha, where theta is the longitude difference, is the longitude difference, and alpha is the latitude angle. This is how we get the distance along the small circle or circle of latitude in nautical miles. So we just need to work out what is the longitude difference. So what is longitude difference? Theta. We get the longitude difference by considering the longitudes of these two, longitude of P and longitude of Q. One is 30 degrees east, the other one is 52 degrees east. So they are located, both of them, to the east. So to get the difference, you subtract. So 52.5 degrees minus 30 degrees. And this will give 22.5 degrees. The latitude angle is given by, both of them are located on the latitude 66.42. So that is alpha. The latitude angle is 66.42, the latitude along which they are located. So now we get the distance. So distance is given by 60 multiplied by theta, which is 22.5 times the cosine of the latitude angle, which is 66.42. Just use a calculator to do this, and this will give 540.04 nautical miles. So that is the distance. Now let's go to the speed. Speed is given by, in knots, you get distance in nautical miles, which is 540.04 nautical miles. Then you're given 3 hours. Plane took 3 hours. Time is 3 hours. So when you divide these, you get, this will give 180.01333. And you got to give your answer correct to 1 decimal place. So we'll give it as 180.0 knots. Question 6. Solve 6 cosine square of x is equals to 5 sine of x. The range is given x should be greater than or equal to 0 and it should be less than or equal to 180. Now the first thing you're going to do is to make everything to be uniform. You can see you're dealing with cosine and sine. There's no way you're going to solve that equation having cosine and sine. You either convert all of them to be sine or all of them to be cosine. The easier one is to make them to be sine. And how do you do that? So look at cosine squared x. Look at that. So you're going to use the identity. The identity is cosine squared x plus sine squared x is equals to 1. Using this identity, you notice if you make cosine squared x the subject, you'll get it as cosine squared x is equals to 1 subtract sine squared x. So this is what you're going to use. So you're going to substitute cosine squared x with 1 subtract sine squared x. So we write it here. So 6 cosine squared x is the same as 1 minus sine squared x. Just substitute it there. Is equals to 5 sine of x. Open the brackets. Here you'll get 6 minus 6 sine squared x is equals to 5 sine x. Organize these. When you organize these, because you can see this one is taking the format of a quadratic equation. If you organize it, you'll get this one as taking everything on the left hand side to the right hand side. You will have 6 sine squared x plus 5 sine x minus 6 is equals to 0. So can you look at this? Notice that this one is a quadratic equation, and you can substitute sine x with, let's say, a letter like y, that you can solve this one easily. So let sine of x be any letter, let's say y. So if sine of x is equals to y, what about sine squared x? That one will be 6y squared plus 5 sine x is y minus 6 is equals to 0. So this is a quadratic equation. You can solve this one by factorization method. So look for two numbers whose product is negative 36 and sum is 5. Sum is 5. So these ones are negative 4 and 9. So let me factorize this. So you get 6y squared plus 9y minus 4y minus 6 is equals to 0. So between 6y squared and 9y, what is common? 3y is common. So we remain with 2y plus 3, then minus 4y and negative 6. Negative 2 is common. So you have 2y plus 3 is equals to 0. So this one will simplify to 3y minus 2 to brackets 2y plus 3 is equals to 0. And this one will give, when you equate 3y minus 2 to 0, you'll get y being 2/3, or y, that is when you equate 3y minus 2 is equals to 0, you get y as 2/3. When you equate 2y plus 3 is equals to 0, you'll get this one as negative 3/2. So those are the two values of y. The question is not asking about y. You have to solve for x. That is what you have in the question. So remember that you had let y be represented by sine x. So therefore, sine x is equals to the first value of y, because sine x is equals to y. The first value of y is 2/3. So with this one, you can get the angles. So if you want to get x, the angle, you simply get the sine inverse of 2/3. And this one will give, you get the sine inverse of 2/3. This will give 41.81. 41.81 degrees. So look at the range that you're given. X should be less than or equal to 180. Should be greater than or equal to 0. So sine, just consider the circle, unit circle. Sine is positive in the first quadrant and in the second quadrant, because you can see 2/3 is positive. So it is positive in the first quadrant. We get 41.81 from the first quadrant. Then the second quadrant, for the second quadrant, to get that angle, you simply get 180 minus 41.81 degrees. This one will give us the angle in the second quadrant, which the sine of that angle will still give you 2/3. So when you subtract these, you get 138.19 degrees. So therefore, you have x as 41.81 in the first quadrant, in the second quadrant, 138.19. That was the first value of x. Now the other one is this. Y is equals to -3/2. So we substitute y with y was sine x. So therefore sine x is equals to -3/2, which is the same as -1.5. For this one, you're going to ignore it, since it is not possible to get the sine inverse of -3/2. So therefore we get the two answers. The two values of x, this question is 41.81 and 138.19, and they are within the given range. Question 7. The following table shows the frequency distribution of marks scored by 40 students in a test. There, calculate the upper quartile mark. Calculate the upper quartile mark. So the first thing will be to get the position of the upper quartile, and to do that we require to have the cumulative frequency. So let us have cumulative frequency. So 4, the first one is 4, so 4 plus 10, next one is 14, 14 plus 13, 27, 27 plus 8, 35, 35 plus 5, you get 40. So how do you get the position of the upper quartile mark? The upper quartile, which is denoted by Q3, we get it by getting 3/4 of the data, of the total frequency, that is 3/4 of the total frequency. The total frequency is the total number of students, which is 40, which we call n. So this will be 3/4 times 40. So this one will give us the position, and the position here will be 30. So where is 30? We want to identify that class where the upper quartile mark will be found. So 30 is located here. It will be in this class. So that will be there. That is why we have 35. It will be here. So that class will be class from 41 to 45. That is why we shall get the upper quartile mark. Then from there, to get the upper quartile, we use this formula. So upper quartile, or Q3 is given by L plus 3/4 n minus CF, explain what these are, divided by F multiplied by I. L is the lower class limit of that class where we have identified the upper quartile will be found. The class is here, this class from 41 to 45. So what is the lower class boundary? The lower class boundary, you take 41, subtract 0.5, so you get 40.5. So that is L. So Q3 is equals to 40.5 plus 3/4 of n. 3/4 times 40, that will give 30. Then you subtract. CF is the cumulative frequency above that class. The cumulative frequency above that class. Above which class? Above this class, 41 to 45, which is the cumulative frequency above that class. It is 27. So subtract 27, then divided by F is the frequency of that class. The frequency of that class is 8. Then I is the class size. The class size of the class width. How do we get that? From these, we simply take the upper class boundary, which is 45.5, minus the lower class boundary, which is 40.5, and that give 5. So this is what is going to give us the upper quartile mark. So we have 40.5 plus, this will be 3/8 multiplied by 5. And when you work out these, you get 40.5 plus 3/8 times 5, will give 1.875. And when you add these, you'll get 42.38 as the solution. Question 8. Given that P is equals to 5i minus j plus 3k, Q is equals to 8i plus j, and R is equals to 2p minus q, determine the magnitude of R. To start with, we shall write vector P in form of column vector. So let us write P as a column vector. So P be given by, we just extract the coefficients of I, j, and k. So 5i, that is 5, negative j, that is negative 1, then plus 3k, that is 3. And then for q, the same, 8i, then plus 1j, that is 1, then there is no k, so k is 0. That is the first thing we should do. We are supposed to get R. R should be given by 2p. So R will be given by 2p. P is 5, negative 1, 3, minus Q. Q is 8, 1, 0. Like that. So this one will give, multiply this by 2. 2 times 5 you get 10. This is negative 2. Then 2 times 3 you get 6. That, then subtract 8, 1, and 0. And you subtract these, 10 subtract 8, you get 2. Negative 2 subtract 1, you get negative 3. 6 subtract 0 is 6. Like that. So therefore, R is given by 2, negative 3, 6. Now we want to get the magnitude. So magnitude of R will be given by, this is how we get the magnitude. We square each of these and get the square root. We square each of the coefficients of I, j, and k, get the sum, and then get the square root. So 2 squared plus negative 3 squared plus 6 squared. This is how we get the magnitude. So this will give 4 plus 9 plus 36. And this will give the square root of 49. And it will give the magnitude as 7 units. Question 9. The following figure shows a circle, center O. The circle is there. Part A. Determine the equation of the circle. Determine the equation of the circle. So look at this circle. For us to get the equation of the circle, we need to have the center and the radius. So we need the center and we also need the radius. So how do we identify the center? The center is O. We just need to give the coordinates of the center. And when you give the coordinates here, the coordinates will be 1, 1.5. This is 1.5 here, and this is 1. So the coordinates are 1, 1.5. That is the center. 1, 1.5. The radius will be this distance from the center here to the circumference. So how many units are those? So it is from 1, be very keen, from 1 all the way to 3. So those are 2 units. So radius is equals to 2 units. So having the center and the radius, we can now proceed and get the equation. And we need to understand the standard format of the equation of a circle. It is given by x minus a squared plus y minus b squared is equals to radius squared. That is the equation, or the standard equation of circle, with center being AB. The center is AB, and in this case, AB is 1, 1.5. This is 1, 1.5. So you just need to substitute, and you have the radius as 2 units. So substitute. So this will be x, subtract, A is 1, then you square that, plus y minus b, which is 1.5 squared, is equals to radius squared, which is 2 squared. Open this bracket, you get x squared minus 2x plus 1, then plus, expand this, y minus 1.5 squared, you get y squared minus 3y plus 2.25 is equals to 2 squared, which is 4. So x squared plus y squared, then minus 2x minus 3y. I'm just reorganizing these. Then the constants, we have 1, 2.25, and 4. So I can bring 4 to the left hand side of the equation, so that I will have 1 plus 2.25, then subtract 4, and that will give negative 0.75 is equals to 0. So that is the equation of the circle. Part 2, and for part 2, you're supposed to use the equation in part A to determine the x-intercept of the circle correct to 3 decimal places, the x-intercept of the circle. So how do you get the x-intercept? At x-intercept, y is equals to 0. So what you need to do, you just need to take the equation that you have obtained, and then you simply substitute y with 0. At x-intercept, the value of y is equals to 0. So look at this equation. I'll just use this equation that is here. So x squared plus y squared minus 2x plus 3y minus 0. So what you're going to do, y is there and y is there. Just substitute those values with 0. Where we have y, just substitute that with 0. And this is what you're going to get. This will give x squared minus 2x, then minus 0.75. So that is what you get when you substitute y with 0. And I can simplify this. 0.75 is the same as 3/4. So this will be x squared minus 2x minus 3/4, the same as 0.75. So let me multiply each term by 4 to get rid of this fraction here. I'll get 4x squared minus 8x minus 3 is equals to 0. So when I solve this quadratic equation, it will give me the x-intercept. And let me use the quadratic formula. Use the quadratic formula to solve this. In this case, the value of a is 4, it is here. Then b is equals to 8, and then c is equals to negative 8. So let me substitute those values here in this formula. So x will be given by negative b. This is negative, so be negative 8. B is negative 8. C is negative 3. Correction there. So this is negative 3. So let me substitute. X is equals to negative b will be 8 plus or minus. B squared is negative 8 squared, which will be 64 minus 4 times a is 4 times c, everything divided by 2 times a, which is 4. So this will give 8 plus or minus 64, subtract 4 times 4 times negative 3, you get 112. It will give 112, so you get the square root of 112 divided by 8, and this one will give 8 plus or minus the square root of 112. Square root of 112 will give 10.58. So you have two values of x. The first value is when you consider the positive, 8 plus 10.58 divided by 8, and this one will give 2.323. That is the first value. And the second one, x is equals to, consider the negative, and this one will give negative 0.3225. So those are the values of the x-intercept. Question 10. The following table shows the monthly income tax rates of a certain year. Monthly income in Kenyan shillings, then the tax rate percentages in each shilling is given there. That year, a monthly relief of 2,400 was allowed. The net tax on Lesiento's monthly income was 1,500 shillings. Calculate Lesiento's monthly income. So this is a backward taxation where you're given the net tax and the relief. You're supposed to get the income. So since you're moving backwards, the first thing you calculate is the gross tax. the gross tax. So we begin from the gross tax. So how do you get the gross tax? Gross tax is given by, you take the net tax and add the relief. In this case, the net tax is 15 is given, then the relief is 2,400. When you add these, you get the gross tax as 3,900. Now we need to get the amount of the income that was taxed in order to get this gross tax of 3,900. Let's go to the slabs. So the first slab, what is the income in the first slab? It is 24,000, from 0 to 24,000. So that the size of that slab is 24,000 times, we multiply the rate in that slab is 10%, and it's good to note whatever you're going to get here is the tax in Kenya shilling. So you get a tax of 2,400. So here you'll get the tax, and then this is the income. Whatever you are taxing is the income. 24,000 is the income. Then after you tax, you get 2,400. So what we need to get is, in the first slab we've obtained a tax of 2,400, but we have a tax of 3,900. So let's go to the second slab. What is the size of the second slab? The size of the second slab, if you subtract, this is 32,333 minus 24,000, you get that figure as 83,333. That is the size of the slab. And if we tax, just testing, if you tax that, if I tax that amount, that is 8333 times 25%, I'll get a tax of 2,083 and 25 cents. So when you come and add it here, 2,083 and 25 cents, when you add everything here, you'll notice that it is going to exceed the tax that you have already we are getting, that is 3,900. Remember, we have a tax of 3,900, but when you add 2,400 from the first slab and add 2,083.25, having taken the whole size of that, the whole amount in that slab, second slab, you will find 4,000, above 4,000. So that will be more. Therefore, we need to know the exact amount. We don't know that amount that is there in the second slab. It is not the whole amount that is going to be taxed. So since we don't know that amount, we can let that amount in the second slab to be represented by y, because it is not the whole amount, 8,333. Then the rate is 25%. And that one should give us 1,500. Why 1,500? Because we are taxing 39. We want to get a tax of 3,900. In the first slab, we already have 2,400. The total tax that you are targeting to get is 3,900. So what is remaining in the second slab? In the second slab, we must have a tax of 24. So that is why we are subtracting 3,900 minus 2,400, and this will give 1,500. So this is what is going to the second slab. That is the tax that must be there. So that you get now the total is 3,900. So now you can get the value of y. So y times 25% is equals to 1,500. So y will be given by, we are solving this, y times 25% is equals to 1,500. Make y the subject, you get y is equals to 1,500 times the reciprocal of 25 over 100, which is 100 over 25, and y will give you 6,000. So 6,000 is the amount, is the exact amount that should be here. This is the income that should be here. That is the value of y. When you tax 6,000 by this rate, 25%, you should get 1,500. So now the question is the monthly income. So total monthly income is the income from the first slab, which is 24,000, plus the income in the second slab, which you have obtained as 6,000, and this one will give 30,000. So that is how you're supposed to solve that. Question 11. A transformation matrix T is given by 1K00 maps P23 onto P prime 210. Point Q, -44, is transformed under the same matrix T. Find the coordinates of Q prime, the image of Q. So we have the matrix T it maps P onto P prime. So when you're transforming using a matrix, we should always pre-multiply. The matrix of transformation should always come first. So if you're transforming P, so this is how we're supposed to do it. Matrix T is 1, K, 0, 0. So this one transforms P, and P is write it as a column, in column form. You get 2, 3, like that. And this one should give P prime, and P prime, which is 210. By doing this, we'll be able to get K. So we multiply these, apply these out. Row 1, column 1. So 1 times 2, you get 2. So you get 2. Then 0 times 3 is 0. Then row 2, column 1. So K times 2, you get 2K plus 0. And this one will give 210. So for this you just pick these. Just pick this one. So 2K plus 0 is equals to 10. You get 2K is equals to 10. And K is equals to 5. So now we have the value of K. So therefore matrix T now is complete with 1. Just substitute K with, go down to be 5, 0, 0. The question is, point Q is transformed at the same matrix, which you have already obtained now, T. Find the coordinates of Q prime. So here we have Q, and Q is negative 4, 4. So you just need to, you get Q prime there. So we multiply these. So row 1, column 1 times negative 4, you get negative 4. 0 times 4 plus 0. Then row 2, 5 times negative 4, give negative 20. 0 times 4, you get plus 0, like that. So this will give negative 4, negative 20. That is Q prime. The coordinates will be, of Q prime, will be negative 4, negative 20. Question 12. The length and the width of a rectangular floor of a room are 10 meters and 7 meters respectively. A rectangular carpet of area 28 meters squared is placed on the floor. The carpet leaves a uniform space of x centimeters with each of the walls of the room. Form a quadratic equation in x and hence so for x. So let us first sketch this rectangular floor, 10 by 7. We sketch it. So that is how it is. And there is a carpet, a rectangular carpet of area. So carpet, indicate the carpet. The carpet is inside there. That is a sketch. It leaves, this is uniform. So this measurement here, it is uniform. It's just a sketch that is uniform. So the uniform space of x meters with each of the walls. So this is uniform. It is just a sketch. It may not look exactly uniform. This is x, this is x, and this one is x, this one is x. And also, without forgetting even here, also that one is x. The floor is 10 meters by 7 meters. So that means the length of the carpet will take 10 meters, then subtract x's, 2 x's from both ends. So there are 2 x's. So this will be 10 subtract 2x. This x from this side and x from the other side. Then for the width, we have 7, again 7, subtract 2 x's, x from both ends. And we have the area. This carpet is 28 meters squared. So we have the length and the width. Now we need to get value of x. So we can form these. Look at the area of the carpet. If we take 10 minus 2x as the length, multiply by the width, is 7 minus 2x, we'll be able to form the quadratic equation is equals to the area. So let's do that. So area is given by, we have the length of the carpet, which is 10 minus 2x, multiply by the width, which is 7 minus 2x. That one should give 28. So expand the left hand side, the equation. This will be 10, 7 minus 2x minus 2x, 7 minus 2x is equals to 28. This will give 70 minus 20x minus 14x plus 4x squared. Then you can bring 28 the left hand side, get it like that. So this one will simplify to 4x. We simplify this 4x squared minus 34x. You collect the like terms plus 42 is equals to 0. So from there we can divide everything by 4, but by 2, everything divided by 2, and this will give 2x squared minus 17x plus 21 is equals to 0. So that is the quadratic equation. Now we need to solve it. To solve this, I'll use the quadratic formula where the value of a will be 2, b will be negative 17, and c will be 21. You just substitute it in the quadratic formula. You know the quadratic formula. You write the quadratic formula here. So x is equals to minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. So this is what you're going to use. So we just need to substitute. So x will be given by negative b will be 17 plus or minus b squared will be 17 squared. We'll just go directly. B will be negative 17, so b squared, substituting there, will be 289 minus 4 times a, that is 4 times 2, times c, which is 21. That will give 168. Then everything divided by 2a, 2 times a, 2 times 2, you get 4. So x will be 17 plus or minus 289 minus 168, you get 121 divided by 4. And this will give 17 plus or minus 121 will be square root of 121 will be 11 divided by 4. So from now here you can get two answers. The first one will be 17 plus 11 divided by 4, and this one will give 28 divided by 4, which will give 7, or 17 take the negative minus 11 divided by 4. So x will be, this will be 6 over 4, it will give you 1.5. So you have two solutions. Now which is which? You have these and you have these. Now you're going to ignore 7, because if you try to substitute 10 minus 2x, you'll get 10 minus, when x is 7, you'll get this one as 14, and this will give you negative 4. And since we can't get negative measurement or negative length, we ignore that. So we go by 1.5. So therefore x is equals to 1.5. So we have answered the question, we've formed the quadratic equation, and we have solved for x. Question 13. A quantity v varies directly as the square of u and inversely as the cube root of w. When u is equals to 5 and w is equals to 8, the value of v is equals to 375. Find the value of v when u is equals to 8 and w is equals to 125. So the first thing you're going to do is writing this variation. Quantity v varies directly, the sign of proportionality, as the square of u, and inversely as the cube root of w. Inversely as the cube root of w. That is how I write the variation. When you remove the sign of proportionality, because you introduce a constant, v is equals to the constant k, then u squared divided by the cube root of w. When u is equals to 5 and w is equals to 8, the value of v is equals to 375. So let us substitute this. V is equals to 375. So v is equals to 375. Then constant multiply by u is 5. So that will be u squared will be 5 squared. Then divided by the cube root of w, which is 8. So this will give 375 is equals to 25, 5 squared is 25, times k, give 25k squared, 25k squared, divided by 8. So 375 is equals to k times 5 squared, that will give 25k, divided by the cube root of 8 is 2. So let us get k, make k the subject. K will be given by 375 multiplied by 2 divided by 25, and k will give you 30. So that is the value of the constant. Now you can write the whole formula. V is equals to k, which is 30, u squared divided by the cube root of w. So the question is, find v when u is equals to 8 and w is equals to 125. So v is given by k, which is 30. Now we are using these. K, the constant is 30, multiplied by u squared. U is 8. So that will be, so you can see here, u is 8. So u is 8, so that will be 8 squared divided by the cube root of w is 125. The cube root of 125. So you work out these. This will give 30 times 64 divided by the cube root of 125 is 5. And this will give Vs 30 times 64 divided by 5. They give 384. Question 14. A stone was thrown upwards from a point 8 meters above the ground. The following graph shows the height h meters of the stone above the ground at time t seconds in the interval t is less than or equal to 4 and it is greater than or equal to 0. So that is the graph, as you can see. Move down. Determine the rate of change of h at t is equals to 2. The rate of change at t is equals to 2. So what we need to do, I just go to the graph. At t is equals to 2, we need to draw the tangent to the curve at t is equals to 2. Draw a tangent to that curve at t is equals to 2. At t is equals to 2, this is where you're supposed to draw the tangent. So t is equals to 2 is here. Just move upwards. So you're supposed to draw the tangent that is touching this point here. So take a ruler. And draw a tangent. That tangent, we've said that it is a tangent at t is equals to 2. So this is the point where you drawing the tangent. The tangent should touch that point. So draw the tangent. So that is the tangent at t is equals to 2. So after doing that, to get the rate of change at t is equals to 2, we get the gradient of that line. We get the gradient of that line. So how do we get the gradient of that line? By simply picking any 2 points. Any 2 points on that line. So I'll pick those 2 points. I'll pick the point from these. The point I'll pick. So this is where I'll pick from these. So I'm constructing this triangle just to show the points that I'm going to pick. So look at that triangle that I formed there. So the 2 points I will pick, you can pick any 2 points and get the gradient. You know how to get the gradient of straight line. So I'm picking this point here. this point and I'm picking this point. Any 2 points will work. So I will pick this point is 2, 8. That is 2, 8. And I will pick this one as well. This point that is here. This point is 3.55. 3.55. So that is 3.5, then 5. So use those 2 points to get the gradient. So the rate of change. The rate of change, therefore, is given by the gradient. The gradient using these 2 points, 2, 8, and 3.55. So now to get the gradient, change in y divided by the change in x. So change in y would be 5 subtract 8 divided by change in x, 3.5 subtract 2. This will give -3 divided by 1.5. This will be 1.5. When you divide these, you'll get -2. So the rate of change at h is equals to t is equals to 2 seconds is -2. Question 15. The gradient function of a curve is given by dy of dx is equals to 3 minus 4x if the curve passes through the point -1, 10. Find the equation of the curve. So you have the gradient. Gradient of the curve is given by this. This is 3 minus 4x. That is the gradient function. But to get the equation of this curve, we will integrate the gradient function. So when we integrate the gradient function like this, we integrate dy over dx, you get y. When you integrate 3 minus 4x with respect to x, you'll get 3x minus, this will give 2x squared, like that. Then you have to add a constant. We are finding the equation of the curve. Cos this y is equals to 3x minus 2x squared plus c will give the equation of the curve. What we don't have is the constant. Need to get that. And you're going to use this point where it passes through. So at -1, 10. This is what is going to give us the constant, because you know that this will be x will be -1, and y will be 10. Just substitute this. Y is equals to 10, substituting it here, is equals to 3 times -1, that will be -3. Then subtract 2 times -1 squared, that will be 2, then plus c. So 10 is equals to, this will be -5, -3 minus 2, then plus c. So therefore c is equals to 15. That is a constant. Therefore, the equation from this now, you'll get, or the function of the curve will be 3x minus 2x squared plus 15. So that is the equation of the curve. Question 16. P, Q, and R are points on a level ground. Q is 4.5 meters south of P, R is to the east of P and 5.3 meters from Q. A vertical post at P is supported by a cable of length 3.5 meters. The cable joins the top T of the post to point R. Calculate the angle between the cable and the level ground. Correct to 2 decimal places. So a sketch will be very important in this question because it will help us to solve it. Let me sketch these P, Q, and R. We position these points. So Q is, we start with this, Q is 4.5 meters south of P. So assuming that P is here, so if P is there, so if P is here, then it means 4.5 meters. So this is a 4.5 meters, and Q is south of P. So Q is somewhere here. Then R is to the east of P. So R is to the east of P, like that. So assume that R is there, the east of P, and 5.3 meters from Q. So from Q, this distance here is what is 5.3 meters. A vertical post at P is supported by a cable. A vertical post at P. So let me draw a vertical post at P. So assume this is there. So that is the vertical cable, and this is the top, supported by a cable of length 3.5 meters. The cable joins the top T of the post, the top T of the post. So this is the top of the post, that is point T, to point R. So that cable joins this top to R, like this. So this one is, that is how it is. So this is there, so this is the cable, and then and together this is there, this is the post, that is the post. So since this one is a vertical post, that angle 90 degrees, and also this one 90 degrees. So having this sketch to be now easy to work out the angle between the cable and the level ground, the angle between the cable and the level ground. So this is the ground, so this is the ground. So the angle between the cable and the level ground is that angle. So how do you get that? You consider this triangle. So consider this triangle that is here, and that is what is going to use. And any measurements that we know, we don't have any measurements. So we only have the length of the cable is given as 3.5. This one is there. So this one is 3.5 meters. So if you're able to get any other side, be possible. So we can get PR using Pythagoras theorem, using this triangle PQR. So the hypotenuse is 5.3 squared, then minus that height 4.5 squared. So that will give us PR. So use Pythagoras theorem to get that. So this will give the square root of 7.84, and when you get the square root of 7.84, that will give 2.8 meters. So PR is therefore 2.8. So this is 2.8 meters. Now using triangle TPR, the one that is shaded in yellow, now we should get that angle. We can use trigonometric ratio, and the suitable one to use here is cosine. So cosine of that angle theta is equals to adjacent, which is PR 2.8, divided by the hypotenuse, which is TR 3.5. So this will give cosine of theta is equals to 2.8 divided by 3.5. That will give 0.8. So therefore theta, get the cos inverse of both sides to get theta. Theta will be given by the cos inverse of 0.8, and these will be 36.87 degrees. So that is the angle between the cable and the level ground. Correct 2 decimal places. Question 17. The first term of an arithmetic progression AP is A, and the common difference is D. The seventh term of the AP is 11th. The sum of the first 12 terms of the AP is 123. A part 1. Form 2 simplified equations involving A and D to represent the information. So the first term of an AP is A. The common difference is the seventh term is 11. So the first thing that you need to understand is how do we get the nth term of an AP? How do you get the nth term of an AP? It is given by A plus n minus 1 D. For instance, if you want to write the seventh term n will be 7. Just need to substitute 7 in the place of n. So the 7th term should be a plus n is 7 minus 1, that is n minus 1, then d. So the 7th term is a plus 6d, and you're given the 7th term is 11. So that gives the first equation. The second equation, we get it from here. The sum of the first 12 terms of the AP is 123. So again, how do you get the sum of n terms of an AP? It's given by n divided by 2, then 2a plus n minus 1 d, like that, where n is the position of the term. Now here we have the sum of the first 12 terms, so n will be 12, and then Sn is the sum of the first 12 terms, that will be given by 123. So let's just substitute these. So n over 2 will be 12 divided by 2, then 2a plus n minus 1, n is 12, so it is 12 minus 1, multiply by d, should give 123. Simplify these, you get 6. This is 2a plus 11d is equals to 123. So open the brackets, you get 12a plus 66d is equals to 123. You can simplify this one by dividing everything by 3. Divide everything by 3, and you get 4a plus 22d is equals to 41. So here you have equation 2. Now you have two simplified equations in terms of a and b. The second one is here, and the first one is here. Those are the two. Part 2, find the values of a and d. You simply need to take the two equations that you formed in the first part and solve them simultaneously. So you have 11 is equals to a plus 6d. That is the first equation. And the second one, just organize it. You have 4a plus 22d is equals to 123. That is the second equation. So use the elimination method. I will eliminate a. So to make a uniform, I'll multiply the first one by 4 so that I get 4a, and subtract the second one 4a. Multiply the whole of equation 1 by 4. So we get 44 is equals to 4a plus 24. Then the second equation is just multiplying that one by 1. Get 123 is equals to, not 123, something wrong here. So this one we simplified, we got 41. So for that we got 41 for this. So we got 41, not 123. So we have 41. The second equation is 41. It is here. So when you subtract these, this is 4a plus 22d. This was 24d, 22d. So the first equation, we've multiplied everything by 4. The second equation, multiply by 1. So you can see now you can eliminate a. You subtract the 2. 44 minus 41, you get 3 is equals to 24d minus 22d, you get 2d. So from here, you get d as 3 over 2 or 1.5. That is the value of d. Now let's get the value of a. To get the value of a, you simply need to take one of the equation. We'll take this 11. I'll take 11 is equals to a plus 6d. I already have d. D is 1.5. So just substitute 11 is equals to a plus 6 times d, 1.5. So this will give 11 is equals to a plus 1.5 times 6 is 9. So a is equals to 2. So you have d and you have a. Part B. The first, the third, and the eighth terms of the AP form the first 3 consecutive terms of a geometric progression. Calculate 1, the 6th term of the GP. So you have the first, the third. So let us write, this one is for the AP. So the first, the third, and the 8th. We write these. So the first term of an AP is A. The third term, remember how we gave the nth term? Just to remind you, the nth term of an AP is given by A plus n minus 1 D. So if you want to get, for example, the third term, you just substitute n with 3. Okay, so the third term will be A plus 2D. A plus 2D. The 8th term, just take the formula of the nth term, and if you're getting the 8th term, just substitute n with 8. So this will give A plus 7D. So because we already have A and D, we can just write these. A, we got A as 2. Then we know A and D. Then D is 1.5. Just substitute here. So you have 2, like here A is 2 plus 2 times 1.5. So this one will give 5. Then the 8th, A is 2, then plus 7 times 1.5. D is 1.5. You're just substituting. This will give 12.5. So now we have the first, third, and the 8th terms. So the first is 2, the third is that one. So these 3 form the first 3 consecutive terms of a GP. So now for the GP, we have 2 as the first term, 5 as the second term. That is what we mean by consecutive. And then 8th as 12.5, like that. So that is a GP, and you're getting this term from the AP. Now you're required to get the 6th term of the GP. So to do that, we need to know, how do we get the nth term? The nth term of, how do you get the nth term? The nth term of any GP. It is given by A raised power, this is AR raised power n minus 1. That is how we get the nth term of a GP. And now if you want to get the sixth term, the GP, n will be simply 6. We just substitute n here with 6. So you'll have A, R, then 6 minus 1. And this will give A, R raised power 5. That is how we get the 6th term. This is the 6th term of the GP. Now what we need to get is A, the first term of the GP, which is here, it is 2. Then we need R. R is the common ratio. How do we get the common ratio? We simply take the ratio of the 2 consecutive terms. For example, I can consider between 2 and 5. 2 and 5. So using these, to get the ratio, you just take 5 divided by 2. So the common ratio is 2.5. So now we just need to substitute. So the 6th term is therefore A, which is 2, multiplied by R. R is 2.5. Then raised power 5. As simple as that. And when you do that, this one will give 195.3125. So that is the 6th term of the GP. Let's go to part 2. The sum of the first 6 terms of the GP. How do we get the sum of a number of terms of a GP? There are 2 formulas. and both formulas depend on the common ratio. For example, if the common ratio is greater than 1, we use this formula. A, then r raised to power n minus 1, then r minus 1. This is the formula that you're going to use when the common ratio is greater than 1. What's the common ratio here? We got the common ratio as 2.5. That is greater than 1. Then we have A. And A is 2. So we just need to substitute. So the sum of the 6 terms, so n, because you're getting the sum of the 6 terms, n will be 6. So sum of the first 6 terms will be given by A, which is 2, then common ratio, which is 2.5 raised to power n is 6, then minus 1, then 2.5 minus 1, that is r minus 1. So let us work out the numerator. 2 multiplied by 2.5 raised to power 6 minus 1, that will give 486.28125. That is the numerator. Then the denominator, 2.5 minus 1 is 1.5. And when you divide these, you will get 324.1875. So that is the sum of the first 6 terms of the GP. Question 18. A welfare group invested 75,000 shillings in shares and another 75,000 shillings in a piece of land for a period of 5 years. The shares appreciated in the value at the rate of 6% per annum for a period of 3 years. In the remaining period of 2 years, the shares appreciated in the value at the rate of 4.5% every 6 months. During the 5 years, the piece of land appreciated in the value at a constant annual rate. At the end of the 5th year, the values of the 2 investments are equal. Part A, determine 1. The value of the shares at the end of the 5 years, or at the end of the 5th year. The value of the shares. So the amount that was invested was 75,000. That was the amount. So you're required to get, and we are given the rate of appreciation was for a period of the shares appreciated in value at the rate of 6% per annum for the period of 3 years. So then the next 2 years, the shares appreciated at the rate of 4.5%. So let us first get the amount after 3 years. And you're going to use the formula for appreciation. This is what you're going to use. Appreciation, that is the amount, is given by, this is the principal amount of shares invested, 1 plus the rate over 100, then everything raised to power, and that is the formula that you're going to use for appreciation. So let us begin by the first 3 years. So the first 3 years. For the first 3 years, to get the amount will be given by the initial amount that was invested, which is 75,000. Then the rate 6%, that is 6 over 100. Then the period is 3 years. This will give us the amount at the end of 3 years. So when you work out these using a calculator, 75,000 into brackets 1 plus 6% raised to power 3, this will give Kenya shillings 89,326 That is after 3 years. We are done with 3 years, but required to give up to the 5th year. So we're remaining with 2 years. So in the remaining 2 years, the shares appreciated at the rate of 4.5% for every 6 months. So for 2 years, now when you're beginning now, the 2 years, we don't have now 75,000. Remember, there has been an appreciation and the amount is not now 75,000. It is 89,326 and 20. That will be the principal now as you're beginning in these 2 years. So the new principal now, that is after 3 years, the amount has changed. This is what we are going to have as the principal, 89,326 20 cents. Then 1 plus, using the formula for appreciation still, the rate is 4.5 every 6 months. So it is not given per annum. 4.5%. So 4.5%, 4.5 over 100. Then the appreciation rate is after every 6 months. And you have 2 years. So in 1 year means we will have 2 periods of appreciation because it is after every 6 months. So for 4 years, we shall for 2 years we shall have 4 periods. So for n of the period to be 4. That is very important to note. So when you work out these, you'll get 106,523 and 16 cents. So that is the amount at the end of the 5th year. So we're done with that. So let's go to the second part. The annual rate of appreciation in the value of the land over the period of 5 years. Now for the land, we know the principal, the same amount was invested, the land, 75,000. And the period is 5 years, so we don't know the rate. But we know the amount. We know the amount. The amount after appreciation of the land. We know it, and we get it from this statement. The last statement here, that at the end of the 5th year, the values of the 2 investments were equal. The investment in the shares, the amount was 106,523.16. It is here. So the same amount applies to the land. So for the land, after 5 years, we have the same amount. So that is what you're going to use. So amount is 106,523.16. So let us get the appreciation of the land. So the amount invested is 75,000. Then 1 plus, the rate is what you don't know, that is what you're calculating. Then the period is 5 years, and the amount will be equal the amount you got for the shares, which is 106,523.16. So from here, you just need to make R the subject. So I'll start by dividing both sides by 75,000. Divide both sides by 75,000 like that. And when you do that, you remain with 1 plus R over 100 raised to power 5 is equals to 106,523.16 divided by 75,000. That will give 1.4203088. So from there, you want to get rid of the power 5. So get the 5th root. Get the 5th root of both sides. You get the 5th root of the left hand side, you remain with 1 plus R over 100. When you get the 5th root of 1.4203088, you will get correct 4 significant figures. You get 1.073. So make R the subject, R over 100. Take 1 to the right hand side. You'll have 1.073 minus 1. This will give R over 100 is equals to 0.073. From here, You want to get r, multiply both sides by 100. Multiply both sides by 100. And this will give r as 7.3% as the rate of depreciation for the land. Part B. After the 5-year period, the shares depreciated in value at the rate of 3.5% per annum for n years. The shares lost 10% of their value during this period. Determine the value of n correct to 2 decimal places. So now this one is about depreciation, and for depreciation we use this formula. So amount is given by the principal amount invested, then 1 minus r over 100 raised to n. So this is the formula for depreciation. That is the formula we're going to use for depreciation. So this depreciation rate is given as 3.5%. Then, of course, we know the principal amount. The principal amount after 5 years. So after 5 years, it will be 100. We obtain that one as well. The value is the same. 106. 523.16. So it is depreciating now from this amount. So therefore, we require to get n. So therefore, principal, to get depreciation, we take the principal, which is 106,523 once and 0.16, then 1 minus the rate is 3.5 over 100, then raised per, and we don't know the period, is equivalent to. Now from this statement, the shares lost 10% of their value during this period. 10%. So let's get 10% of. So 10% of what? So it is 10% of the total value. So if it lost 10%, then what remained was 90%. So what remained was 90%. If you are going to get 90%, that will now be the amount after depreciating. The amount after depreciating will be 90% because it lost 10%. So 90% times 106, 523 and 16 cents. So this one will give, when you work out that, we give 95.87 to 95.870. .84. So that is what you get, 95,870.84. Now this is the amount we are going to equate here after losing 10% after depreciation. So 95,870.84. Now with this equation, we can now find n. Using this. Let's find n. So we start by dividing both sides by, so we'll have 1 minus 3.5% is equals to, when you divide both sides by 106, 523.16, we shall have, so this is 95,870.84 divided by 106. Like that. So 1 minus 3.5 over 100, that will give 0.965 raised to power n is equals to, when you divide that, you will get, this will give 0.9. 95,870.84 divided by that, you get 0.9. So how do you get n? Now to get n here, you'll have to introduce logarithms. And this is how you're going to do it. So logarithm of 0.965 raised to power n is equals to logarithm of 0.9. And logarithm of 0.965 raised to power n is the same as n log 0.965 is equals to log of 0.9. So you want to remain with n, divide both sides by log 0.965, logarithm of 0.965. This will give n be logarithm of 0.9 divided by logarithm of 0.965. So when you divide that, you'll get, got to give the answer correct 2 decimal places. This will be 2.96. Yes, correct 2 decimal places. Question 19, part A. A number is selected at random from the numbers 90, 91, 92, 93, and 94. A second number is then selected at random from the numbers 2, 3, 4, and 5. Afterwards, a quotient is obtained by dividing the first number selected by the second number. Part 1. Complete the probability space in the following table. So from the statement here, the quotient is obtained by dividing the first number, and the first number is this, the first number, by the second number, the second number is this. So you're supposed to complete this table, and notice the table has been filled with mixed numbers. So ensure that you write your answers when you're filling the table as mixed numbers. Don't change that. So how has it been filled? You simply take from the ones that are filled here. For example, look at these, 93 divided by 2, you get 46.5. That is what has been filled. 93 divided by 3, so the other one is 92 divided by 3, you get 30 and 2/3. Then for this one you have 91 divided by 4, you get 22 and 3/4. Then 90 divided by 5, you get 18. So we can now begin like this one, 90 divided by 2, we write the answer there. So 90 divided by 2, you get that one as 45. Then you go to the next, 91 divided by 2, write the answer here. 91 divided by 2, that one will give 45.5. Then the next is 92 divided by 2, write the answer here, that will be 46. Then the next is 94 divided by 2, you write the answer here, it will be 47. Go to the second row, 90 divided by 3, you write the answer here, it will be 30. Then the next is 91 divided by 3, we put the answer here, it will be 30 and 1/3. The next, 93 divided by 3, we write the answer here. That would be 31. Lastly, 94 divided by 3, you write the answer here to be 31 and 1/3. We go to the third row, 90 divided by 4, the answer here will be 22.5. Then the next, 91 That one is filled, divided by 4. It is filled there. So we got 92 divided by 4. Put the answer here. That would be 23. (93) divided by 4. We write the answer here. It will be 23 and a quarter. Then lastly, 94 divided by 4. Read the answer here. 23 and a half. The last row, 90 divided by 5, you get 18. So 91 divided by 5 would be 18 and a fifth. Then the next, 92 divided by 5, we write the answer here. That would be 18 and 2/5. Then the next is 93 divided by 5. Write the answer there. 18 and 3/5. And then lastly, 94 divided by 5. Write the answer there. 18 and 4/5. So that is all for part 1. We go to the next part. Part 2. Determine the probability that the quotient obtained is a whole number. The probability that the quotient obtained is a whole number. So let us check for the whole numbers. The whole number, that is 1 whole number. This 2 is 3. There is 4. There is 5. There is 6. And there is 7. So the probability will be 7 divided by the total outcomes. Total outcomes, you just count all the values here. All these are the outcomes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So out of all the outcomes, which are 20. Then part 2, determine the probability that the quotient obtained is a recurring decimal. Recurring decimal. So let's identify the recurring decimals. So the first recurring decimal is here, 30 and a third. Then there is 30 and 2/3. Then 31 and a third. And I think those are the only recurring decimals. So there are 3. There are 3. So we have these, 30 and a third, 31 and a third, and 30 and 2/3. So there are 3. So therefore the probability is 3 out of the total outcomes, which is 20. We go to part B. Part B of the question. In a shooting practice, the probability that a soldier will hit the target in his first attempt is 60%. This probability increases by 10% in the second attempt. The soldier shoots at the target twice. Determine the probability that 1. The soldier will miss the target only once. Then the second part, the soldier will miss the target in both attempts. So go to the first one. In the shooting practice, the probability that soldier will hit the target in the first attempt is 60. But in the second attempt, the probability increases by 10%. So can you use the tree diagram? The soldier shoots at the target twice. So we'll have tree diagram with 2 branches. So that is the first, that is hitting the target and missing the target. And it is twice. So we shall have two branches. This is the second attempt, hitting, not hitting the target. Here we have hitting the target, not hitting the target. So the probability that in the first attempt, this is the first attempt, and the second attempt is the second branch here. Target is 60%, and 60% is 60 divided by 100. So missing the target will be 40%, 40 over 100. But in the second attempt, the probability of hitting the target increases by 10%. So how do we get that? It increases by 10%. So there are two ways of doing this. So if it increases by 10%, you can get what is that increase of 10%? 10%, which is 10 over 100, times 60%. So we see what is the increase in the percentage. And this will give an increase of 6%. So therefore, in the second attempt, it will not be 60. It will be, the increase is 6%. So you have to add 60 so that you get 66%. So that is the second attempt. So here we shall have 66 over 100. Another method you can use is by taking 60% to be 100. That is 100%. So we take 60% to be 100%. Then after an increase of 10%, it will not be 100%, to be 110%. So if 60% represents 100%, after the increase, which is 110%, what percentage will it be? So you just cross multiply, you will get 110 times 60 divided by 100. And this one will give you 66%. So those are the two ways of doing it. So if the second attempt 66%, then missing the target in the second attempt will be 34%. So here we have 66%. This will be 34%. So the probability the soldier will miss the target only once. So let me complete this. This is the first attempt, hitting in both attempts, then hitting, then the second attempt missing. Here, missing the first attempt, the second attempt hitting. Then the last one is missing in both attempts. So missing the target only once will be obtained from missing only once. It is either this or this. Missing only once. That is why he misses once and hits once. So therefore this will be the probability of hitting then missing, or the probability of missing then hitting. So working out these, you'll get, so you're picking these, so you're picking these, so 60% times 34. This is what you're picking, 60% times 34 times 34%, or you add this one, or this one, 40% times 66%. 66%, like that. So working out these, this will give 60% times 34%. Simplify, this will give you 51 divided by 250. Then 40% times 66%, this will give you 33 divided by 125. Then you add the 51 over 250 plus 33 divided by 125. This will give 117 divided by 250. That is the solution. The second part, the soldier will miss the target in both attempts. Missing in both attempts. Missing in both attempts means the probability of not hitting. That is what we mean. So we are getting that from here. This is where he misses in both attempts. So that would be given by 40% times 34%. And this one, when you work it out and simplify, you get 17 divided by 125. Question 20. A. The table below shows the values of x and some values of y for the curve y is equals to 14 plus 10x minus 8x squared minus 4x cubed. Complete the table. So let us do this using a calculator. So the function you're supposed to use is this. So for negative 2.5, just take the function. So we have 14 plus 10x. So 10x is negative 2.5. So put negative 2.5. Then minus 8x squared minus 8. Then x is negative 2.5 and square that. Then minus 4x cubed. 4x is negative 2.5. Then you get the cube of that. And okay, that will give 1.5. So that is 1.5. Do the same for the other. The other one is negative. When x is negative 1.5, use the function, this function. So 14 plus 10, x is negative 1.5 minus 8x cubed, 8x squared. 8, x is negative 1.5. We square that. Then minus 4, x is negative 1.5 cubed. That gives negative 5.5. We're here, negative 0.5. Do the same. 14 plus 10. Place of x, we have negative 0.5 minus 8, negative 0.5 squared, then minus 4, negative 0.5 cubed. That gives 7.5. We are here 0.5. So we have 14 plus 10 to brackets 0.5 minus 8, 0.5 squared minus 4, 0.5 cubed. That gives 16.5. Then the last one is 1.5. So you have 14 plus, so you have 14 plus 10 of 1.5 minus 8, 1.5 squared minus 4, 1.5 cubed. So this will give negative 2.5. So we fill the table. Let's go to part B. So for part B, on the grid provided, draw the graph of y is equals 14 plus 10x minus 8x squared minus 4x cubed for this range given here. Then you're given the scale, 1 centimeter to represent 0.5 units on the x-axis and 2 centimeters to represent 5 units on the y-axis. So let us do that. So 1 centimeter to represent 0.5 on the x-axis. So you need to be very keen here when you're drawing these. Ensure you use the scale that is given. So let us plot. The first point is negative 2.5, 1.5. So negative 2.5. It is good to know the x-axis, the size of one small square is 0.1. For the y-axis, one small square is 0.5. So you're plotting the first one, negative 2.5, 1.5. So negative 2.5 is here. Then 1.5. The y-axis is 1. 1.5 will be here. So this is the point here. So negative 2.5, 1.5 is here. Negative 2, negative 6 should be here. So this is the point. Then the next one is negative 1.5, negative 5.5. Negative 1.5 is here. Negative 5.5. So this is negative 5. Negative 5.5 is here. Understand the scale. On the y-axis, the size of one small square is 0.5. The next one is negative 1, 0. Negative 1, 0 will be there. So negative 0.5, 7.5. 7.5 is here. Is there. 0, 14. 0, 14. So 14 is here. 14 is there. Then the other one is 0.5, 16.5. 0.5, 16.5. So here you have 16. 16.5 is here. So 0.5, 16.5. 16.5 is here. Then 1, 12. 1, 12. So 10 is here. 11 is here. 12 is here. It's there. So 112 is here. Then the last one, 1.5, negative 2.5. 1.5, negative 1.5, negative 2.5. Negative 2.5 is here. Negative 2.5 is here. So now you have all the points. So you have all these points plotted. You need now to join the points using a smooth curve. So the only thing I can do when I look at these points, you can look at this point here. At this point, you can introduce another point, any point between negative 1.5 and negative 2. This one will make it easier for you to draw a smooth curve. Just introduce a point, and you can introduce negative 1.8. So negative 1.8, can introduce that one. So negative 1.8, and for this one, use a calculator to work out that. So when x is negative 1.8, it is easier to draw a curve, a smooth curve, when you introduce a point that is between negative 1.5 and negative 2. So negative 1.8, just use the function y is equals to 14 plus 10x minus 8x squared minus 4x cubed. And you notice that will give negative 6.6. So negative 1.8 is somewhere here. Negative 1.8 is here. Then 6.6. This is a 5. This is 6. 6.6 will be somewhere there. And there. So when you plot now, you can see now the curve will be smooth when you join these points. So let us join those points using a smooth curve. So that is the curve. So ensure that all these points are joined using a smooth curve like that. And that is the curve. So you've drawn the curve. The curve is there. Show that it's smooth. All the points are passing, or the curve is passing through all the plotted points. So we've done that. We use the scale, the right scale, and there you have the curve. Let's go now to the next part. So we've drawn the curve. Now this other question here. Use the graph to solve the equation 14 plus 10x minus 8x squared minus 4x cubed is equals to 0. So how do we solve that? Using the graph. Here is the graph that we've drawn. So this is what you do. Now take the function of the curve that you are drawing. Curve was y is equals to 14 plus 10x minus 8x squared minus 4x cubed. Now you need to solve these. So just equate these. So this is 0. This function now is equals to 14. This is what you're supposed to solve. Plus 10x minus 8x squared minus 4x cubed. When you equate them like that, you simply subtract the 2. Y subtracts 0 is y. And then you notice all these terms here will get subtracted. 14 minus 14, 0, 10x minus 10x, 0, negative 8x squared minus 8x squared, all these. So on this side you get 0. So now after you've done that, you need to draw this line. And which is this line? Y is equals to 0. You don't even need to draw this because it is the x-axis. So this is the equation of the x-axis. So to solve this, just go to the graph and identify the x-axis. So the x-axis is here. So to get the solution, get the point at which that curve cuts the x-axis. The first one is here. This is the first one, and this is a negative 2.4. This is negative 2.4. So the first solution is x is negative 2.4. That is one. That is 1 point. Then the other one is here. This is a negative 1. So x is equals to negative 1. And then there is still another one. So there is this one. This is a 1 point. Remember, the size of one small square is 0.1. So this is 1.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. So this is 0.4, 1.4. So these are the solutions. We go to the other part. By drawing a suitable line graph on the same grid, solve the equation. This is the equation that you're given. And to do that, again, you take the function of the curve. Y is equals to 14 plus 10x minus 8x squared minus 4x cubed. Then with these terms here, so you have 4x squared, 4x cubed is here, but this is positive. This is positive 4x cubed, this one. Then this one is positive 8x squared, positive 8x squared. And then you have negative 5x, put it here, negative 5x. And then the constant is negative 4. Then equate that on to 0. So this is the equation. I've just reorganized it so that I can be able to compare the two. So to get that straight line, you just need to find out whether you're going to eliminate most of these terms. Are you going to add or subtract the two equations? When I look at these, if you want to eliminate most of the terms here, we are going to add. We add the two equations. So when you add y plus 0, you get y. Then 14 plus negative 4, you get what? 10. Then 10x plus negative 5x, you get positive 5x. This is 10 minus 5, it will be 5x. Then for these ones, negative 8x squared plus 8x squared will be 0. Negative 4x cubed plus 4x cubed, that will be 0. So this is the line that you remain with, and that is what you need to draw. So to draw that line, to draw a straight line, you require at least 2 points. So just find any 2 points. We'll start with 0. When x is 0, just substituting this equation here. When x is 0, y will be 10. Then when y is 0, what will be the value of x? It will be negative 2. Just substitute that. Then when, look for another one. When x is negative 3, say negative 3, this will be 10 minus, this will be 15. 10 minus 15 to be negative 5. So now using these, you can draw that straight line, get the solution. So let me draw the straight line. So I have 0, 10, 0, 10. So 0, 10 is that point there. Then the other one is negative 2, 0. Negative 2, 0 is here. And we have another one. The last one is negative 3, negative 5. So negative 3, negative 5 is here. So negative 3, negative 5. So these are the points. This one, and this one. So join those points using a straight line. So that is the line. Y is equals to 10 plus 5x. How do you now get the solutions? How do you solve? Draw this straight line, draw it and solve the equation. So how do you solve that? We simply solve that by checking the point of intersection of that line, the curve. One of the points is here. This is one of the points. So this is the point. So read the x coordinate of this point. Read the x coordinate. Like this point here. Just read the x coordinate. So the x coordinate of this point is here. So this is negative 2, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. So this is a 2.3. So that is the first point here, the x coordinate of this point of intersection of this straight line and the graph. This is negative 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 2.3. So the first one is x is equals to negative 2.3. Let's get the other one. The other point is here. The other point is here. Point of intersection. So this one is straight forward. You just read the x coordinate of that point. When you drop, this is a point of intersection, then the x coordinate is negative 0.5. So that one, negative 0.5. Negative 0.5. And then we have another one here. There's another one here. This is the other point of intersection. So drop down. So this is the point here, somewhere almost in the middle of these. So this is 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, around 0.85. Because I can see it is almost, no, not exactly on this line. Some point here, so 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, around 0.85. So that is 0.85. And that is how you're supposed to solve that question.
Simple, simple, simple.
Question 21. An express train operates between two towns. The train pulls X coaches on first class and Y coaches on economy class. Each first class coach can hold 72 passengers, while each economy class coach can hold 120 passengers. A. Write down the inequalities that express the following conditions for a trip made by the train where the 1. Total number of coaches used was less than 10. 2. Train was pulling at least one first class coach. 3. The number of economy class coaches was more than the number of first class coaches. Then 4. Total number of passengers exceeded 360. Let's go to the first one. Write down the inequality presenting total number, Roman 1. Total number of coaches used was less than 10. That means the coaches of the first class plus the coaches for the economy class should be less than 10. So that one is how we write it. The coaches for the first class presented by X plus the coaches for the economy class, that now give the total number of coaches, and that one should be less than 10. That sum should be less than 10. So that is the first inequality. The second one, Roman 2, train was pulling at least one first class coach. So remember, the number of coaches for the first class is represented by X. So that one should be at least one. At least one means greater than or equal to 1. So therefore, the train was pulling at least one first class coach. We are going to write that one using this inequality. X should be greater than or equal to 1. That is the meaning of at least 1. Greater than or equal to 1. Then 3, number of economy class coaches, which is represented by Y, was more than means greater than the number of first class coaches, which is represented by X. So that one, this is how we're going to write it. The number of economy class coaches, which is represented by Y, more than means greater than the number of first class coaches, which is represented by X. So that is how we're supposed to write it. Then Roman 4, total number of passengers exceeded 360. Exceeding 360 means should be greater than 360. That is the meaning of exceeded. Should be greater than 360. So how do you get the number of passengers? Now let's start with the total number of passengers for X coaches. So we have X coaches, then each, that is X coaches for the first class, and each first class coach can hold 72 passengers. So if there are X coaches and each coach can hold 72 passengers. Total passengers will be X times 72. So that one represents the total number of passengers in the first class coach. What about economy class? The economy class, we have Y coaches, and each coach can hold 120 passengers. So all the passengers in the economy class coach will be represented by Y times 120, and that sum. Now these are all the passengers, both for first class coaches and economy class coaches. That one should be greater than 360, should exceed, that is greater than 360. So simplify these, we get 72x plus 120y should be greater than 360. So you can simplify these by dividing everything by 24. You can see all the terms are divisible by 24, and when you do that, this is what you're going to get. So you'll get 3x plus 5y should be greater than 360 divided, this will be 15. So now we have all the inequalities. So the first one is here, the second one, the third one, and the fourth one. So after doing that, we proceed to the next part of the question. B, represent the inequalities in A on the grid provided. Now we represent these inequalities on that grid. So we have 4 inequalities, so we are supposed to draw 4 lines. So go to the first one, x plus y is less than 10. So x plus y is less than 10. So the line that you're going to draw here will be x plus y is equals to 10. That is the line. To draw this line, we need at least 2 points. 2 points will work. We don't need the third one, is just there for confirmation. So we plot this how we do it. We need to get when x, just be careful when you're picking your values, considering the values for the x axis. You can see the maximum is minimum is 0 and maximum is 10, both for the x and the y axis. So the y-axis, you have number of economy class coaches. The x-axis, you have number of first class coaches. So when x is 0, y will be 10. And when y is 0, when you substitute y with 0 in this equation, you'll get 10 as well. If you take x, those 2 points are okay to draw a line, but you can still use the third one, confirmation of that line. So when x is 5, again, y will be 5. So that is enough to draw that line. We go to the second one. Now the second one is x is greater than or equal to 1. The x is greater than or equal to 1. For this one, the line that you are going to draw is x is equals to 1. And before I forget, this line, you can see less than, this line will be broken, meaning all the points that lie on that line cannot satisfy the inequality. But for this one, you can see greater than or equal to, the line will be continuous, because all the points that will be lying on that line will satisfy the inequality. So we draw that line, x is equals to 1. That one don't need points, we just draw that line. Then we have the third one. The third one is y is greater than x. Y is greater than x. Y is greater than x. The line that you're going to draw here is y is equals to x. You know how to draw that, so you don't need points again to draw that, but you can just have the points if you wish to have them. You can take for instance, is x, this is y. When x is 5, y will be 5. 10, 10, 3, 3. You can take any. When you substitute, that is what you get. The fourth one is 3x plus 5y. 3x plus 5y is greater than 15. This line will be, oh I forget, this line that is here, greater than, this line will be broken. Then this line, greater than again, this one will be broken. So we get the points. So you have x, y. So when x is 0, you substitute 0 in this equation. The line that you're going to draw is 3x plus 5y is equals to 15. So substitute x with 0, you get 3. So when y is 0, you get x as 5. So I don't see any other point that will give me a whole number. The others give decimals, but those 2 points are still okay. You can use those one to draw the line. Now that we have all the points, we go to the first inequality, x plus y is less than 10. We draw that line using the point 0, 10. We're plotting these 0, 10, 10, 0, and 5, 5. So go to the graph. We have 0, 10. 0, 10 is here, so 0, 10 is here, then 5, 5, and 10, 0. So these are the points 0, 10, 5, 5, 10, 0. Join, and don't forget that the line should be broken. That line should be broken. So you draw that line, broken line. So that is the line. So that is the line y, the first one. This is the x plus y is equals to 10. So that is the line. X plus y is equals to 10. We go to the other line. X is greater than or equal to 1. The line you're supposed to draw there is x is equals to 1. X is equals to 1 is the vertical line. That is the vertical line cutting across x is equals to 1. So x is equals to 1 is this line, should be here. So this vertical line, this is the line. That is the line passing through 1. So that is a continuous line, should be continuous. So that is the line. So the line x is equals to, is the line x is equals to 1, continuous. The next one, y is greater than x. The line is y is equals to x. Y is equals to x. So y is equals to x is a line that passes through the center of the axis. Center of the axis. That is between, exactly between the x and the y axis. That is the line. So y is equals to x. Let me show you. So y is equals to x is this line passing exactly between the x and the y axis. Exactly between. Y is equals to x. You can take any points. If you can plot 5, 5, 10, 10, y is equals to x. So y is equivalent to the value of x, 3, 3, and so on. But you don't need to do that. Just know that y is equals to x is the line that passes exactly between the x and the y axis. What's that? And that line is supposed to be broken. So the line is supposed to be broken. So that is the line. That is the line y. Line y is equals to x. The next one, which is the last one, 3x plus 5y is greater than 15. So you're plotting this 0, 3. So let me plot this 0, 3 is here. And then we have 5, 0. Those two are enough. 5, 0 is here. So these are the points that you need to join, 0, 3 and 5, 0 in a straight line. So this is the line. That line should be broken. Should be broken. So that is the line. Now after doing that, now you have all the lines. So let me write the equation of this line. 3x plus 5y. So this is 3x plus 5y is equals to 15. Is equals to 15. So now we have all the lines. We have this line, x is equals to 1. We have this line, the 4 lines are there. The next step is to shade the unwanted sides in order to remain with the required region or the feasible region. We're going to start with the first line, which is x plus y. X plus y is less than 10. So this is the line. So we need to know whether we require to shade on the upper side or the lower side of that line. So how do we do that? This is how we do it. So consider that line, x plus y is less than 10. Pick any point either above that line or below that line. So I'll pick point that is below that line. So on this side, so our line is here, x plus y is equals to 10. So I'm picking, you can pick either a point on this side or the other side. So pick a point on this side. The easiest one to pick is 0, 0, 0, 0. So let me pick 0, 0. Then substitute the value of x. X is 0, y is 0. Substitute that in that inequality and see whether it satisfies. So x is 0, y is 0. So therefore, when you substitute, you get 0 is less than 10. And this is true. 0 is less than 10. So that side, where we've picked that point, satisfies the inequality. So automatically the other side is the one that is going not going to satisfy that inequality. Can't have two sides satisfying the inequality. So we are going to shade on the upper side of that line. Why? Because the point that you have picked on the other side of that line has satisfied the inequality. And remember, we shade the unwanted sides. So that is the unwanted side. Let's go to the other line. Line number 2, x is greater than or equal to 1. X is greater than or equal to 1 is this line. Greater than 1 lies on this side. So that means this side is the one that is going to satisfy that inequality. Any point that we pick on this side is x is greater than or equal to 1. Any point that we're going to pick, for example, if I pick, let's say a point that is here, like 7, 0, like 7, 0, for instance, 7, 0. X is 0, y is 0. So x 7, y is 0. So you can see it is satisfied. 7 is greater than or equal to 1. So that side, the right hand side of that line is going to satisfy. X is greater than or equal to 1. So automatically the left hand side is the unwanted side. So we shade the left side of that line. So let's go to the other line, and the other line is y is greater than x. Y is greater than x. So this is the line, y is greater than x. So we need to know whether we're going to shade on this side, this side or this side. So let me pick a point that is on this side. For example, I'll pick 5, 2, point on this side, 5, 2. Let us test. So the equation is y is greater than x. So let me pick 5, 2, and x is 5, y is 2. Substitute y is 2, and then x is 5. So that one is not satisfying. 2 is not greater than, so this is not true. And we shade the unwanted side, the side that is not going to satisfy the inequality. So since I've picked that point here on this side of the line, that is 5, 2, and it has failed to satisfy the inequality when I substituted here, as you can see, then we shade that side, that is the unwanted side. So we shade that. So let me shade these. We shade the unwanted side like that. We shade everything here to avoid confusion. So everything there, the whole that side should be shaded. Now after doing that, we are remaining with the last line, which is 3x plus 5y. 3x plus 5y is greater than 15. So again, so this is the line, this is the line. So we want to establish whether this side or this side will satisfy. So let me pick a point on this side, that is 0, 0. I'll pick 0, 0. So 0, 0 like that. So x is 0, y is 0. Substitute it here. X is 0, this will be 0, and this one will be 0. Is greater than 15. So 0 is not greater than 15. So that side does not satisfy, and therefore it is the unwanted side, and it is the one that you're going to shade. So we shade this side of that line. That is the side that you're going to shade. Now after doing that, you can see we are remaining with unshaded region. This is the unshaded region here. This is the unshaded region, and that is called the required or the feasible region. That is how we do it. Let's go to the other part of the question now. Part C. The coaches for the trip were all fully booked. Each first class ticket cost 3,000, while each economy class ticket cost 1,000. Determine the maximum possible amount realized from the sale of the tickets for the trip. So this process of determining the profit, maximum or minimum, is called optimization. And to carry out optimization, we require to have the objective function. Where do we get the objective function? From the information given. The coaches, each first class ticket cost 3,000 shillings. So remember, the number of coaches for first class was represented by X, okay? And then each first class coach was carrying how many passengers? Go back there. Each was carrying, from the first part of the question, it was carrying 72 passengers. Then economic class was carrying 120 passengers. So what you're going to do here, in order to optimize this is what you're going to do to get the profit. The objective function is what you're getting right now. So we have X number of coaches for the first class, and each coach carries 72 passengers, and each passenger, that is for each ticket, pays 3,000 shillings. So that represents the amount of money obtained by the coaches for the first class. That is 3,000. This is 3,000. Plus, for the economy class, we have Y number of coaches. Each coach carries 120 passengers. Each passenger pays 1,000. So now that represents the total amount realized for all the coaches, first class and the economy. So this is what we call the objective function. So this represents P, or the profit, or the amount realized for the sale of the ticket. So when you multiply these out, X times 72 times 3,000, this will give 216,000 X, plus this will give 120,000 Y. This is equal to the amount. So P represents the amount realized for the sale of all the tickets. So after doing that, now we have the objective function. This is what you're going to use to get the amount, the maximum possible or the minimum possible amount. And why do we get that amount? We get that amount from the required region. This region that we have obtained here, the unshaded region, this is where we are going to get the number of economy coaches and the number of first class coaches that are going to give us minimum or maximum profit, or the amount. So the method that you're going to use, you can use several methods. You can use the search line or the inspection method. I will use the inspection method. For the inspection method, you inspect the corner points of the feasible region, the corner points. But in this case, when you look at all the corner points of the feasible region or the required region, they are all lying on broken lines, and therefore all those points will not satisfy all these inequalities. We cannot assume that the corner points are going to give us the correct number of economy class coaches and number of first class coaches, because they are all lying on the broken lines, and all the points that lie on the broken lines will not satisfy them inequality. So therefore we need to get other points here inside, and since the number of coaches both for the first class and economy can't be a fraction or decimals, have to be whole numbers, you're going to use these corners here, must be whole numbers. So let us inspect. You're going to inspect everything. So let me write down the objective function here. So it is 216,000 X plus 120,000 Y, 120,000 Y. So the first point I'm going to inspect is 23. Let me inspect this one first. 23. So when you substitute this one, get 216,000, then X is 2 plus 120,000, Y is 3. So this one is going to give, so this one will give 792,000. The next one we need to inspect is 45. 45 is this point here. Inspect that, 45. So for 45 we have 216,000. X is 4 plus 120,000. Y is 5. So this one will give 1,464,000. Okay. The next one you need to inspect is 13. We can pick along this straight line here. We don't need to pick all the points. You can pick the lower one here and the upper one. That will be enough. You don't need to inspect all of them. Just pick the one that is below here on this line, and then another one that is there. So I'll pick 13 here. So substitute these in the objective function. 216,000 1 plus 120,000 3, and this one will give 576,000. So pick the one on the upper side, which is 18. You can pick this one, 18. So 18. So 216,000 1 plus 120,000 8. So this one will give 1,176,000 6,000. We can still pick, let me see, 2, 3. We can still pick along this line here. Along this line here, we can pick, let's say 2, 6. We can, because we've picked 2, 3. Can pick one on the, or 2, 7. Can pick 2, 7. We're picking one on the lower side. 2, 3. Let's pick 2, 7. And see, so 2, 7, we have 216,000. This is 2 plus 120,000, 7. Let's see the amount here. That is going to give 1,272,000. So we can pick a point here: 3, 4, 3, 4, and 3, 6. 3, 4, and 3, 6. So 3, 4, so 216,000. So 3 plus 120,000, 4. And then we can also pick, that is 3, 4. We picked 3, 4. Can pick the upper side, 3, 6. So we'll give an answer for that, 3, 6. So this one will give 216,000, 3 plus 120,000, 6. So let's work out 3, 4. For 3, 4, you'll have as 120,000. So that will give 1 million. So this will give 1,128,000. And then for 3, 6, plus 120,000, this is a 6. This is going to give 1,368,000. Now all these points are enough. Now we need now to consider for the first one we got 782. This one we got these, so we have 576, we have 1,176, we have these, we have these. So for all these amounts, we require to get the one that will give the maximum possible amount. So which one is giving the biggest or the highest amount? The one giving the highest amount among all these is the one that is here, this one, 1,464,000. This one, and that is 45. 4 meaning number of first class coaches 4, number of economy class coaches 5. So that is the one that is giving. So you're supposed to determine the maximum possible amount realized, and that is what you should do. So you simply take 216,000, then 4 plus 120,000, 5, and this is giving 1,464,000. That is how you get the maximum amount. That one is given by 4, 5. Question 22. In this question, use a ruler and a pair of compasses only. The following figure is drawn to scale. It shows sides AB and AD of a trapezium ABCD, in which AB and DC are parallel. Angle DAB is equals to 40. It is there. And vertex C is not shown. So there we have the figure. Let's go to the first question. Part A. On the figure, construct Roman 1. The locus P of points equidistant from sides AB and AD. Locus P of point equidistant from side AB and AD. Which type locus is that? That is a locus that is equidistant from two given sides. The sides are AB and AD, and that is what we call the angle bisector loci. So to get locus P, we simply bisect the angle between sides AB and AD. So you know how to bisect an angle. So you simply stand here, A, pair of compass, then mark an arc there and another arc there, then stand on this arc, then mark an arc there with the same radius without changing it. Stand on this point, then cut that arc. So from there, join A to the point of intersection of the two arcs. Like that. So this is now the locus P. So that is the locus P. So you're done with that part. So you go to the second part. The locus Q of points equidistant from points A and B. So again, we need to know which type of a locus is this. This is a locus that is equidistant from two fixed points. Locus of points equidistant from two fixed points. The two fixed points are A and B. So you have A and B here. So how do we construct that locus? By simply bisecting the line that is joining the 2 points. This line AB. So when you bisect line AB, that perpendicular bisector will be the locus Q. So we bisect that. This is how we do it. Stand at A, you're bisecting or drawing a perpendicular bisector or of AB. So stand there, open it more than half of that line, and then an arc there, another arc below, then the same radius without changing it. Stand at B, then cut the arcs, then join points of intersection of the two arcs. That is the locus Q. So here we have the locus Q and the locus P is here. The next part 3, the locus R of points such that for ARB is equal to 70 degrees. So that is what we call the constant angle loci. And to explain that, let me use an illustration here. That is, those are points AB. You need to construct the locus R such that angle ARB is equal to 70 degrees. How do you get that? By simply making an arc like that, and all points on this arc, this will be locus R. How do you ensure that any angle made on this arc from point A, this arc, to B will be 70 degrees? You need to have a center. You need to construct the center there. And if the angle made by chord AB on this circumference here, for it to be 70 degrees, you need this one to be 140. Why? You're using the property, the angle subtended at the center by a chord. So the chord here is AB. So any angle subtended at the center by this chord here, the angle will be formed, the angle formed at the circumference here should be half of that angle. Or in other words, the angle formed at the center here by this chord should be twice the angle subtended the circumference. This is what I mean. Any angle that I will make this will be 70. Any angle that I can make this angle should be 70. So all these, any angle that you're going to make from A to the circumference to B, that angle is subtended at the center here by this chord AB. That is a property that you use to get this locus. It is called the constant angle locus. The angle subtended at the center by chord AB will be twice the angle subtended at the circumference by the same chord. So this is the property. So we need to have 140 at the center. So this one will be 20 degrees because this will be an equilateral triangle, an isosceles. This will be an isosceles triangle. So this will be 20 degrees, 20, 20, and so on. And already have this 20 degrees is given because you have bisected. So we need to have something like this. So from the diagram, we go to the diagram here. We already have this angle because we bisected. We have this one as 20. And having these perpendicular bisector, look at where these are bisector. The angle bisector meets with the perpendicular bisector loci. These will be the center. So these here, this point will be the center. This is what you're going to use. Because even if you construct, you take this distance here from A to the center there, then you transfer this on there. You notice it is touching at B. You can see that. So even if you join these, so when you join that, you will have this one as 20 degrees and this one will be 140 degrees. So the center has just come automatically. It is located at the point of intersection of these angle bisector loci and the perpendicular bisector of AB. That is the center. So with that center, this center here, with that center, simply open it till you reach this is a point A. And then you draw an arc. So draw an arc. So draw an arc like that. And these now, these will be locus R. So any angle that you're going to form from point A to any point of this circumference here, from A to any point of this circumference to B will be 70 degrees. So that is the locus R. You're done with that. The next one is part B. Go to part B. Vertex C is such that angle ACB is equal to 70 degrees. Locate vertex C and hence complete the trapezium ABCD. So remember we have the trapezium from the first part, and in this trapezium, already given that trapezium has two sides that are parallel to each other. AB and DC should be parallel. So when you look at whatever we have here, AB and DC, so C should be somewhere here. This one should be parallel. This one should be parallel to another line that is here. But how do we locate that point? If we have a line that is parallel DC here and here, then this line AD will act like a transversal. It will act like a transversal, and I'm going to explain that one further here. So we have A, B, then this is where we have point D. So that line that you're required to draw, supposed to draw it somewhere there, and this one, let's say C is somewhere there. It's a sketch to help us understand. So this one, this line is parallel to this. So because these are two lines that are parallel and this angle is 40 degrees, then to obtain where we shall have C, we need to know how we're going to draw this straight line. And we're going to do that by copying this angle. If we copy this angle is equivalent to this angle. Angles on a transversal. This angle corresponds to this angle. So on this diagram, we simply need to copy this angle 40 degrees, then need to extend line. Need to extend that line. Need to extend it, line AD, like that. And then we copy this angle DAB. We copy that angle. This is just one of the ways to draw that line. DAB, which is 40, we copy it at D. So this is how we copy it. So I will stand at A, and then I will draw. Simply draw an arc. We draw that arc like that. So standing at D, I will draw same arc with the same radius without changing it, with the same radius. Just check what I'm doing. So standing at A, mark an arc there, then at D, you're copying that angle at D like that. Then you need to copy this one. Copy now this angle here. Copy it like this, like that. So let me show you properly. So copy it like that, or maybe you can place it like this. So copy that angle like that, then stand at this point and cut that arc like that. So I've copied this angle like that. That is the size. Then transfer this point where you made an arc and cut that arc. Look at the point of intersection now of those two arcs. Now you need to join these. Need to draw a line that is connecting. Look at the D and the point of intersection. D and the point of intersection of those arcs, like that. So draw a line that is passing through D. I think I need to draw that one properly. So let me draw the line properly. It's supposed to pass through D, the point of intersection of those arcs, like that. So the line is passing through here. So this is point D, the point of intersection of arcs. So this angle here is 40 degrees. And this angle is 40 degrees. So this line is parallel to this line. These are angles. This is the angle that has helped us to do that. So now you need to locate C, and C is located on this arc. This point, look at this point of intersection of locus of R and this line that you've drawn here. Look at this. Just look at it. This point here. This will be C. So C will be located here. So just join that point using a straight line like that. So point C is here, vertex C is here. The point of intersection of locus of R, this line. So we have located that. So now we have the complete trapezium A, B, C, and D. The next question is calculate the area of trapezium ABCD. Now we need to get the area of this trapezium ABCD. How do you get the area of a trapezium? Area is given by half multiplied by the sum of the two parallel sides times the height. We have these two sides that are parallel, DC and AB. Those are the sides. So we can call this side A and this one side B. Then we need to get the height. Now we don't have the height. The height will be given from this vertex here, D, perpendicular line from D to AB. So to get the height, let us draw or drop a perpendicular line from D. Drop perpendicular bisector line from D to AB. So to do that, so stand at D, then let me mark a big arc here. So mark an arc there and mark another arc there. So standing at D, mark an arc there on that line AB. Then stand, you have to extend these. Stand at that point that you've marked there. So any radius now, you can use any radius. Then mark an arc there. Then on the other arc here, then cut that arc. Let me join. So from point D to this point here, from D so this is perpendicular. So that is how we drop a perpendicular from D to AB. So we've just stood here, made this arc here and this arc, then stand on this point of this arc here. We've made this arc, then stand on this point here, that arc. So draw a line, straight line from D to the point of intersection of these arcs. So now this is the perpendicular height. So you need to measure that, so that when you're getting the area, we shall have half. So we need to measure line AB. We need also to measure DC. Then we need to get the height. So let's start with AB. Measure AB. So AB is that is 8.7. AB is 8.7. Gonna confirm these again. That is 8.7. Then DC. DC is 3.123. That is 3.1 to 3.2. Consider is 3.2. And height, the perpendicular height, is 4.2. 4.2. Now with these now you can get the answer. So area is equals to half multiplied by the sum of the two sides. AB was 8.7 plus the other side DC 3.2, then times the height, which is 4.2. So this will give half multiply by 8.7 plus 3.2, that gives 11.9, then times 4.2. And when you work out this, everything, just take 11.9 times 4.2, then we divide by 2. This will give 24.99. 24.99 centimeters squared. So that is how you're supposed to solve that question. Question 23. The following figure is a sketch of a curve whose equation is y is equals to 3x squared minus 9x. The curve cuts the x-axis at O, 0, 0, and at R, 3, 0. The curve cuts the line y is equals to 12 at P and Q. The coordinates of Q is 4, 12. Line RN is perpendicular to PQ at N. So all that information is shown on that figure. Let's go to part A of the question. Calculate 1, the area of the shaded region that lies below the x-axis. The area of the shaded region that lies below the x-axis. So let's identify that area. So the required area is here, the one that I'm shading here. So this is the required area. So to get the area of that region, we are going to integrate using the function of that curve. So we're going to integrate, and the limits are from, we have 0 to 3. So this is 0, this 3. So we integrate from 0 to 3. The function of that curve is 3x squared minus 9x, and you do this with respect to x. So when we carry out this integration from 0 to 3, we are going to get the area of the shaded region that is below the x-axis. So let us integrate this. So 3x squared, when you integrate this, you get 3x cubed divided by 3 minus, when you integrate 9x, you get 9x squared divided by 2. Then you have to add the constant of integration, 0, 3. Those are the limits. So from here, you can simplify 3x cubed divided by 3. That will give x cubed. Then this will give 9 divided by 2. You can write that on as 4.5. Still x squared plus c. Then the limits 0 to 3. So from here now, we start by substituting 3. Where we have x, substitute that with 3. So we have 3 cubed minus 4.5. Then x is 3. This will be 3 squared plus c. Then substitute x with 0. So this will be 0 cubed minus 4.5, 0 squared plus c. That. So from here, 3 cubed will give you 27 minus 4.5 times 3 squared. That will give 40.5 plus c. Then we subtract. This will be 0, 0. This will be c. So you have 27 subtract 40.5 plus c minus c. C will get eliminated. And this one will give negative 13.5 square units. That is the area. And since when you're giving the area, you have to give the absolute value. The negative is there to imply that the area is located below the x-axis. So ignore the negative. You can as well, you can write this one as 13.5 or 13.5 square units. So ignore the negative. So that is how you're supposed to solve the first part. Second part, the area of the shaded region that lies to the right of line R. The area of the shaded region that lies to the right of this line Rn. So identify that area, and that area is the one that we have here. This is the area. This is the area that lies to the right of line Rn. So when you look at that area, you can see that it is possible to get that area if we draw another straight line, from that line there, and since the coordinates of Q are 4, 12, so this point here, the x-coordinate of this point, here will be 4. This will be 4. And this shape that has been formed here, you can see there is a rectangle measuring, so from 3 to 4, this is 1. The measurement of this rectangle here, from 3 to 4, this one is 1 unit. Then upwards from 0 to 12, so those are 12 units. So you will get the shaded area by getting the area of that rectangle, which measures 1 by 12. Then you subtract the area that is under the curve from 3 to 4, under that curve. And the area under the curve, let me shade it. The area under the curve is this area that is here, that area. That is what you're going to subtract. So we shall get the area of that shaded region, and this is the required region. Don't forget that. So this is what we are required to get. This is the required area, and this one shall be obtained by getting the area of the rectangle measuring 1 by 12, subtract the area under the curve. This is the area under the curve. So we get the area of the rectangle. So area of the rectangle, then subtract area under the curve, and you need to be careful. Area under the curve from 3 to 4. 3 to 4. From 3 to 4. Those are the limits that you're going to use. Be very careful with that. So area of the rectangle is 1 times 12. So this will give 12 square units. So now we need to get the area under the curve between 3 and 4. And to do that, we're going to integrate function of that curve. So we integrate from 3 to 4. So we're integrating 3x squared minus 9x with respect to x. And since we had already done this, when you integrated that, we got x cubed minus 4.5 x squared plus c. Then the limits are 3 to 4. So from there, we need to substitute 4. So this is what we're going to have. We shall have 4 cubed minus 4.5 4 squared plus c. Then substitute 3 where we have x. So you have 3 cubed minus 4.5 3 squared plus c, like that. So you work out 4 cubed minus 4.5 multiplied by 4 squared. That will give negative 8 plus c. That is what we're going to get there. Then 3 cubed minus 4.5 multiplied by 3 squared plus c. That will give 13.5 plus c. This will give negative 8 plus c minus 13. Let me do it here. Let me do it up here. This will give negative 8 plus c minus 13.5 minus c. And this will give negative. So for 3 squared minus 4.5 multiplied by 3 squared plus c, that one will give negative 13.5 plus c, like that. And when you work out this, you will get negative 8 plus c minus this will give positive. When you open the brackets, you get 13.5 minus c. C will get eliminated. You get negative 8 plus 13.5, and this will give 5.5 square unit. So now we have the area of the rectangle. The area of the rectangle, which is 12, and then the area under the curve. The area under the curve between 3 and 4. So this is the area. Let me indicate this. So the area of that part is what we have identified as 5.5. So that is 5.5. Then the area of the entire rectangle is 12. So we just need to do the subtraction. So the area required, that is to the right of the shaded area, to the right of line Rn, therefore given by the area of the rectangle, which is 12, subtract the area under the curve from 3 to 5, which is 5.5, and this will give 6.5 or 6.5 square units. This is how we're supposed to do it. Part B, hence calculate the total area of the shaded region. The total area of the shaded region. So you can see the shaded region We have this is a rectangle measuring from 0 to 3. This is 3. Then the length is 12. So that is 1 you're going to get. Then already we have this, the area of this, which is we got that one in the first part, which is 13.5. So this was 13.5. And then we have this one to the right of the area to the right of Rn. We've just got that in the previous part, which is 5.5. So this is a 5.5. So the only one that you need to calculate is the rectangle. This one, 3 times 12, which will give 36. This will give 36. So the total area of the shaded region will be 36 square units, that rectangle. So 36 square units. So which is 3 times 12, that is 36, plus the area below, shaded area below the x-axis, which is 13.5, plus the area to the right of line Rn, which is 5.5. Now that will give the total shaded area. When you work out these, you'll get 56 square units. You get 56 square units. Question 24. In the following figure, OABC is a trapezium. OA is parallel to CB and OA is equals to 3CB. M is the midpoint of AB. Part A, the question. Given that OA is equals to 3A and OC is equals to C, express in terms of A and C, 1 AC. So study the diagram. Supposed to get AC. So AC will be given by from A to O, then from O to C. That is how we get AC, from A to O plus O to C. AO, you're moving in the opposite direction of the arrow from A to O, so that will be negative 3A plus OC AC, or you can write it like C minus 3A. That is the first part. Part 2, AB. So you want to move from A to B. So A to B, you'll move from A, the easier route, from A to C. So you move from A to C. Then from C to B. AC, we already found that in part 1. So AC is C minus 3A. Then CB, don't have CB, but you can get it from here. OA is equals to 3CB, and OA is 3A is equals to 3CB. So therefore CB will be A. We divide both sides by 3, so this one will be A. So CB is A. So work out these. This will give C minus 3A plus minus 3A plus A will give minus 2A. Part 3, OM. So you want to move from O to M. The easier route will be to move from O to A. Then from A to M. OA is given as 3A. AM, I remember we given that M is the midpoint of AB. So if that is the midpoint, then it divides AB in the ratio 1:1. So therefore AM is a half AB. This will be a half AB. So therefore we have 3A plus a half. AB is already here in part 2 as C minus 2 A. So this will give 3A plus a half C in the bracket minus a half times 2A will give A, like that. So when you work out these, you'll get 3A, a half, 3A, I'm sorry. When you work out that, you'll get 3A minus A, you'll get 2A plus a half C. So that is how you get OM. Let's go to part B. Part B, lines AC and OM intersect at X. As you can see there, such that OX is equals to H OM and AX is equals to KAC, where H and K are scalars. Determine the values of H and K. So in order to get the values of H and K, you must come with two simultaneous equations, and in those simultaneous equations you are going to involve these vectors, one equation to have OX and the other equation to have AX. Have two equations. So let's get the first equation. Before we do that, we need to know what we are going to express in two ways. Looking at these vectors given, OX and AX, we can use those two vectors to express one vector in two different ways. And the vector that we can express in two different ways using these vectors given here, OX and AX, is OX. So you have to express OX in two ways. And the first way, you're going to use whatever we have there. OX is equals to H OM. That is the first way. Then the second way of expressing OX and ensuring that you use AX, just look at the diagram here. So you can use that root OA plus AX to ensure that you use AX. Use that root. So OA, if you want to get to express OX and at the same time use AX, you're going to say OX is equals to from O to A, then from A to X. So you can see I've used AX. So these are the two vectors that you need, and this one will give you two equations that you're going to solve simultaneously. So the first one, OX is equals to H OM. We already obtained OM in part 3 above, which is here, 2A plus a half C. And this will give, when you open the brackets, 2 HA plus half HC. That is the first equation, the first expression of OX. The second one is here, OX is equals to OA, and OA is given as 3A. Plus AX. AX is here given by KAC. You're given that in the statement, KAC. KAC. Now we have AC. We have AC in A part 1. A part 1 is here. C minus 3A. C minus 3A. In the brackets, you get 3A plus KC minus 3KA, like that. Now you have two expressions of OX. The two expressions are showing the same thing. So if they are both expressing OX, you can equate them. So equate the two of them. So you have the first one, which is 2HA plus half HC, that is OX, which is equivalent to the other OX, which is 3A plus KC minus 3KA. So this is OX, and this one is OX. So from there, pick the terms having vector A and equate them. So this one, and this one, pick them. So 2HA is equivalent to 3A, they're having vector A, minus 3KA, like that. Then from there, something is common in all these terms. A is common. Divide every term by A. Here you shall have 2H, here you shall have 3, and here you shall have 3K. So keep that equation aside. Then the other thing you're going to do, pick the terms with vector C. Vector C. So you have half HC is equals to KC. Divide each term by C, you'll get half H is equals to K. And when you multiply both sides to get rid of this denominator 2, multiply each side by 2, you get H is equals to 2K. That is another equation. So having that, those two equations, you have this equation and you have this. You can solve that simultaneously. I'll use substitution. So I want you to have a look at this. What we have here. 2H. But what is H? H is 2K. So substitute H with 2K like that is equals to 3 minus 3K. So this will give 4K is equals to 3 minus 3K. And this one will give, bring the like terms together, you'll have 7K is equals to 3. And here, K is equals to 3 over 7. Then, remember what was H. H is equals to 2K. So H is equals to 2. K is 3 over 7. So just substitute and H will give 6 over 7. So you have already found the values of H and K.